I feel like I'm in a Vlad interview.
Really? Well, except I'm actually in the room, but nobody has any way to verify that.
It's like, I need to figure out like a snitching story.
What, Vlad? Well, Vlad did just get bit by Boosie's dog.
So that was all a setup. Boosie set him up, put his whole gang against him, trained his dogs to bite DJ Vlad.
No, I think he was just kicking it with Vlad for so long and built a relationship so that he could get the bite off and Vlad wouldn't sue him like he did to Rick Ross.
Wait, who sued?
Vlad sued Rick Ross years ago.
My God.
Yeah, because Rick Ross like jumped him.
These people are so whack. Vlad is whack for that.
Well, he got jumped by Rick Ross. And he got $4 million out of it. Because that's still whack.
No way I would...
No, did he get $4 million or was it $400K?
No way would I sue somebody for getting jumped. Like, why did he get jumped?
He just put like some news out. I think he posted something that 50 Cent said about Rick Ross.
I don't know. They're all whack.
But the main topic for today is hip-hop dying.
Okay.
Hip-hop not being lit anymore.
Do you think that people are over that conversation?
Yes, but I don't think they're having it the way we're having it. Because one of the things that... So Academics was kind of talking about this. And I thought this was a really great segue into this topic where he was like, oh, podcasts are like dead and the wave is... Or dying and the wave is streaming. But I think that's for a certain audience. And I think that same thing applies to artists where, for example, there were like promo runs and content in general right now for hip hop. There's plenty of channels that make videos, new ones. There's a ton of new ones popping up all the time and they get views. But we were having this conversation is that none of their opinions really like not matter. They don't give opinions, number one. And number two, people aren't looking to them for like what they have to say about something. It's kind of like, hey, we want this information from you that you condensed and pretty much like told us a story.
Right. I feel like that's like the whole, that was the meta on YouTube for like the last year because of Patrick CC's, Sunny B2.
To a degree, but there's always been, I feel like there's less people giving an opinion now though. And the ones that do, they do it for like smaller scenes, right? And the scenes are getting smaller and smaller. So like, you were covering a scene that was smaller than mine, but your scene was like big enough. And then there are people like covering scenes that you don't even really, well, you pay attention to, but you're not talking about them regularly. And that's even smaller.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the shrinking funnel. And those people have opinions, but they're kind of, their best bet is that that scene blows up, which we don't even know if that's likely anymore. Like, who's really blowing up now?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's just like a lack of interesting people, at least that get to mainstream. Like in 2016, there were so many personalities. There might be the same people that are interesting, like the same amount, but I feel like that whole wave died because people already had it. You have to like almost take it to the next level to be interesting now. Like with all the dumbass gimmicks. Right? But maybe there's just not as much talent too. Cause like who's the top of the underground right now? Like Yeat. And Yeat already, might be plateauing right now. Cause
yeah.
he outsold his last album by like 6,000 copies. And even though he technically sold 70, but he kind of finessed it with the merch bundles, whatever, like the downloading of like 4 extra songs.
Yeah, I feel like you have a perfect explanation for this. So how did Yeat rob Vultures out of the number one album the second week? Because he was supposed to not get a number one, and then all of a sudden he's beating it by like 200 units.
How did he rob them? One, Kanye is one of the biggest artists in the world. So to even beat them, you got to do something, even come close numbers wise. You got to be fudging the numbers a little bit, and every new artist is doing that. But yeah, so he was actually projected to be like number 1, number 2, or number 3 against like Morgan Wallen and Kanye. He did a phase 2 like 2 days later after he dropped his initial 2093 album, had a Drake feature, did nothing. Nobody cared about it at all. Then 2 days later or something, he dropped like a 4-pack. You could not stream the mute. Well, I listened to it on stream on YouTube for re-uploads, but you essentially had to buy these songs for $4.99. So I don't know how that equates. Maybe it's like half an album, but so say 26,000 people bought it, or label or whatever, because you can easily. I feel like they got hella credit cards on file to do something, but they boosted the numbers. It was actually like 57 maybe against Kanye being 70, but then Kanye ended up winning anyway. So he didn't rob him at all. He tried to rob him.
Yeah.
And then Kanye just pulled out his pistol.
But I just have such a hard time believing that even streaming, that he is getting like 35,000 equivalent streams in a week.
I mean,
most artists. That's like what, like over 100 million.
Well, that's why I always say like 50% of streams are fake. They gotta be. They gotta be. It's not possible. Like, we did the numbers for all sorts of albums. You calculate like, and first week numbers always equate to U.S. streams. Now, if it was global, okay, maybe that makes sense. But for Billboard's sake, which is just U.S., like let's just, if he got 57,000 times 1,500 streams roughly per album, that's 85.5 million streams right there. That's like, there's 300 million people in the U.S. There's a 600.
Like between 3 and 4.
Yeah, so almost a third of the people listen to the album.
Or like what you're telling me, 20 million people listen to it 4 times, which I don't even believe that's a possibility.
Yeah, but this is just listening to one song in the album. But yeah, there's no way.
No, that would be listening.
But that goes for every artist, every single artist.
Yeah.
You can buy Billboard. Like, I've seen like the menus. You can be like, yeah, I want to hit this rank on Billboard, and then the organic will take over once they get like a certain level, like on SoundCloud or Billboard, and then people will check it out and be like, oh, this song's hot. Let me actually listen to it to see if it's good.
Yeah, Russ was talking about that. And did you watch that interview?
Uh-huh.
That made the most sense because everything kind of like well, not everything, but a lot of stuff starts off fake because people are looking at it like, oh, why should we care about this? And the easiest reason for somebody to care about something is, oh, this is lit and you just haven't caught up to it yet.
Well, it's because there's so much content and music and TikTok, streaming, people like content on the internet every single day that you almost need to be bigger than you are just to attract a certain level of attention. Otherwise, people are like, they need to do that just to even market it. Be like, it is big already. Like on the first day, you see the Spotify numbers, people doing like the first day numbers.
Yeah.
And how many people are listening at the exact time?
And
they need to like show that so that people are like, oh, that like I'm missing out. Like, it's FOMO. It's literally FOMO.
Or it's like, oh, this is number 2 on Apple Music.
Yeah. Literally, it's all just for promo. Because I don't even think that they make, I mean, stream farms, I'm sure they figure out some way to arbitrage it where they can make profit on the streams that, like how much they're paid out versus how much they paid for those streams. But that's probably marginal in the grand scheme of things when they use it for like Instagram posts, like people reacting to various pieces of news about a certain album. Like, it's literally just for, if you think about it, it's just a marketing expense. It's like buying a billboard in Times Square, but just the digital form.
I do think though there was like a shift. So like artists, they always had to capture, if they wanted to be really, really lit, they always had to capture young people. And I think in 2016, maybe even up till 2020 or 2021, like the coolest thing for young kids to follow or pay attention to was rappers.
Yeah.
Rappers aren't artists, but I think that's shifted now to where it's streamers because there's kind of like communities of streamers. Before, like there would be one streamer that they watch and they're like, okay, but now it's like streaming is like its own universe now. And there's all of these different people that interact with each other, and kids think that's so cool, and they feel like it's relatable, like they could do that. Whereas with music, especially if the person makes really good music, it doesn't feel very much relatable at all. So I think they are just following everything that's going on in that world. Oh, who interacted with this person? And then they're in these communities, which used to be music communities, like back then, where people were like, oh, like, what's like Lil Peep dropping, right? Like they're paying attention to what's going on with that. And there's all these communities on Twitter, but now they're just following what streamers are doing. And the news is about streamers.
I agree. I think the streamers are bigger than the rappers nowadays.
Newer ones, yes. Or like any rapper within the past 2 years, other than like maybe like Ice
Plus,
Spice.
it's all organic. I mean, there's people botting like live viewers, but it's much less rampant in that world.
Yeah. And it's tangible.
Yeah. And you can see the live chat. Like, you can check to see. You can people get exposed all the time for that.
Yeah. But also, this is a thing. So I was running this through my head. If an artist, I think an artist that would blow up and actually be lit and have a cult fan base would have to, not would have to be, the ideal situation is they're listened to by all of these streamers and they interact with these streamers. So like, let's say the streamers like kick it with the person's making a song or whatever. And then like, it's like the person's kind of like a character in this streamer's world. He doesn't have to be like super entertaining, but if the music is really good, I think all the fans are just going to adopt that guy's music.
I think that rappers have a double-edged sword because it's like if they interact with the streamers, then they're not bigger than life anymore. But they also need to provide content and work with these people so that they can accomplish what you're saying. Because there's always like, I don't know if you saw it with Cardi going on Aiden, they're like, oh, he lost his aura type shit.
Yeah, some people were saying that.
Or like Ken Carson going on Kai's. Like, it just, you can't win. You can't win as a rapper.
I'm surprised Kai let Ken Carson on his stuff. He's way bigger than him.
Right. But like, rappers have that like coolness factor to them. Like, they're rare.
But I think that's only if you've already made it. I think they want you to be reachable if you're still small, because that's how every rapper builds up like the cult like fan base, because they're very close in the beginning and then inevitably they have to like pull back more and more over time. Right.
I just think it's like the mysterious thing. People got to figure that out.
For mainstream rappers, I think they're cooked. Because like you said, they can't like if Meek Mill is chilling with Kai Cenat and Aiden Ross, number one, people like me that have been listening to Meek Mill forever are like, damn, on top of like whatever else has been going on, you're cooked, bro. Like, you're deep fried. This is where your career goes to die if you have to do this now. Like, you were once this, and then now you've dropped to this. Whereas the younger people that are watching that, I think they're looking at it like, who the hell is Meek Mill? Like, they probably know about him because he's really famous, but they're not like, oh yeah, I really like this guy and want to listen to his music now, because there's just such a big disconnect.
So do you think that music is almost like the first stepping stone in hip hop, where you make music while you're still a kid, because it's like you can still be accessible, you can do content, but then once you reach a certain level, it's almost like not worth doing the music, because it's like, you know how Rihanna pulled back and now she's not even really making music?
Yeah.
I feel like she did it right, because then she can't really get scrutinized, but she's still an icon.
But I think there was just, Rihanna's like Ye in the realm of like, these artists are so big that no matter what, like the label's making sure that doesn't fail. And there was so much anticipation, and her last album was like amazing. So I think, plus for her, the music was kind of all put together. Like, they just make the songs and they're like, hey, go in there and sing this.
Yeah.
So I think it's different for, I think a lot of rappers and artists, they actually enjoy making music.
Yeah.
So they like, whereas for her, I'm not saying she didn't enjoy it, but I think she just like wants to like fall back now, especially after like she's been in the game since she was like 15 nonstop. So,
But that's where
doing that
music
enough.
isn't even like music wasn't a commodity back then. Now it's I could go on SoundCloud and make a song.
Yeah.
So with that being said, it's almost like when you drop songs, you're just dropping YouTube videos in the sort where like if you don't continue this hamster wheel, you will die. Your career will die.
Pretty much. Unless
Nowadays,
you have like a
I'm talking about like
smash.
artists coming out now.
Yeah. Well, I think it's still like, for example, you were saying like the phases kind of if you're younger. I think people when they're older, they can still make a career out of music. But if your goal is to be, and I think maybe that's where people need to look at things differently now. If your goal is like, oh, I'm going to be lit and everyone's going to be talking about me, that's just not going to happen. Especially if you're like a little bit older, or it's like very, very rare case. Because I kind of wanted to point this out to you in the sense that there's so much stuff out now that even established artists that we all know, if they drop, we won't know unless there's a big marketing budget behind it. Like, for example, everybody knows who Pharrell is. If
Right.
Pharrell dropped a song tomorrow, we probably wouldn't even know it dropped.
Yeah, no.
We could potentially not know it dropped for weeks unless there's a ton of money behind it. Because, and I mean, the marketing would cost less because
It's
everyone knows who he is, but you can't just ignore it. Whereas back then, if like Pharrell dropped, they're like, yo, Pharrell just dropped, and everyone is talking about it, and everyone is spreading it. So the marketing budget had to be lower. But now, even if you're gigantic, you have to. I mean, there's a level, right? Like if you're like S tier, like Jay-Z or something like that, or Rihanna, like you said, Ye, it's a little bit different. But even Ye makes like a grand spectacle when he's about to drop, and he promotes it for like 4 to 5
But
months.
isn't that what you're supposed to do? That's what I was talking about before with going on the streams and everything. You don't have to do that, but like you almost have to. People have lost the sense of creating content and the world around your music. I feel like most mainstream rappers fall off because they're not creating a world. They're just like dropping and then just being like, yeah, go listen. But like, I always talk about Cardi, but like Cardi has this whole fucking community, and like you don't think that he did that on like, obviously there's luck involved, but he makes his rollouts more than just the music. Even Yeet with 2093 had like kind of a world to it. Like
I think Yeet has done that very well.
Yeah.
I think Yeet did it more intentionally than Cardi
Yeah.
because there was kind of like phases. Like now, does Yeet even wear like the whole like thing on his face anymore?
he wears a mask sometimes.
Yeah, he doesn't even really like do, like I feel like there was like, and he would always have like the scarf back then too.
Yeah.
I don't really see him with that anymore.
No.
So I think he did that well, and I don't know if his. Well, I didn't pay too much attention to his rollout. I don't think there was.
Yeah, I don't
I
think
knew
was,
about it,
I
and
don't
I
think
saw
it was
what
that
happened.
good of a rollout. But when you get that big, again, it's like a double-edged sword because you don't have the same pull on your community because you're so big, and so there's a disconnect, right? But then you have to put the marketing budget. You're almost spending more than you were before just to get the same results.
Yeah.
So is it even worth it at that point? When you get so big, and what's the word for like a company that has like a bloated company?
Yeah, when they're paying so much for employees
Yeah.
that they don't need.
Right. It turns into that almost. Because you're right, like these artists, if Pharrell drops, he's just like a tool in the marketing. Whereas before, all he had to do was tweet or something, or like a rapper of that stature would just have to tweet like I just dropped and people would blow up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like you got to put marketing budget, you got to post it on all these pages, and it's costs a lot of money.
Like for example, like did you hear the recent A$AP Rocky song that dropped?
Hell no.
Did you even hear about it dropping?
When?
Okay,
Are you talking about the music videos?
No. There was let me see.
Yeah, I mean,
He was on a song.
like a feature.
Yeah, but who was he on it with?
I just think that you have to maintain a level of connectedness to your community. And that's nearly impossible, especially when you get to a certain size.
Yeah, it was with like a group free. It was with Anderson .Paak
Okay.
and this Anderson .Paak's band, basically. So these are two big artists. Anderson .Paak just had like a number. He had like probably like one of the biggest songs of the past couple of years,
Okay.
and nobody really knows that this dropped. And I think that goes back to saying like, A$AP Rocky back then, he could just drop some shit,
You can just drop music.
and
video.
everyone paid
It
attention
blew
to it.
up. Yeah.
But now most people don't even know this dropped. I think most A$AP Rocky fans don't even know that this dropped.
Could that be because everything's algorithmic nowadays?
Yeah, and I think that fucks everything up.
Because before, if ASAP dropped, since the algorithms weren't as sophisticated, everyone would be talking about it. You'd have to just to like tell your friend ASAP dropped. But nowadays, people find music through algorithms, and if the song just doesn't perform well without any marketing, it's almost like it's just gonna be forgotten. Again, it's like a YouTube video. You drop a dud, that shit's like dying, and then nobody's gonna talk about it until you get a song or a video that blows up in the algorithm. Then everybody's talking about it. It's almost like the robots are controlling our actual mind states.
That's why I saw this tweet where someone was saying that TV is better than like YouTube and a lot of social media, because at least with TV, you could be like, oh, I'm going to the food channel. I'm going to see like food programs. Or I'm going
You
to the
discover new
science
stuff.
channel. I'm going to the Discovery Channel. You knew where you could click on a channel and you knew exactly what you were going to get. Whereas now, sure, you could follow all that stuff, but it doesn't matter if you follow it because your feed is just going to populate. So let's say a week, let's say March Madness or something, right? You're just following basketball stuff and you're liking basketball stuff and you're engaging with basketball stuff. You're not going to see no more Food Channel stuff ever.
Right. It's gonna, yeah, the feed is gonna control what you actually like.
Yeah, so I think it just narrows you down so much. And they're not, like what, they're going to have different, I think it doesn't make sense, even from a UI perspective, for a platform to have like 50 different tabs, I guess.
Like channels.
Yeah. I
For
think I would like
categories.
that function if it was available, like to turn on, like a secret thing. But they do have it on YouTube, but it's for stuff that you already watch.
It's like gaming and then music. Yeah.
Yeah, or like it'll be like hip hop, R&B, like stuff that you're already watching, and then it'll just put them into categories. But how often is it on YouTube that you get recommended something that you've never watched, had no interest in, and you're like, oh, this seems interesting?
I think it's just a slower progression where you'll watch, like, say, a commentary video on, let's say, Uzi, but then there's somebody who, like, has made Uzi content in the past or, like, talked about him, but then they also make other content. So you get recommended their video into a different subject, and then that feeds you down to a different rabbit hole. But it's not as fast as you're saying, where you can, like, switch from a channel or a category of channels / videos and then go to another one.
Yeah, but I feel like there's never a scenario where I could see that happening. Like, let's say someone's watching, let's just say my channel, for instance, and then there's like a hip hop related video that also mixes like some sort of conspiracy, and then they go down like, and
That's
they're
what I mean.
watching like Joe Rogan eventually, or
Right.
like Eddie Bravo or something like that. But I don't see any type of like follow through where you go from watching, let's say, a music video or a video about skateboarding, and then you're at like someone cooking something.
Yeah. It's almost as if you need, like, multiple algorithms running that are
Yeah.
separate from each other.
Which is exactly what I do. Like I have multiple different YouTube viewing channels that I
Based on
intentionally
what you-
curate.
Okay.
But nobody's doing that. And that's
Yeah,
so
I'm not.
much work.
Yeah.
And that's actually why TV is kind of fire. Well, or was kind of fire. I mean, I don't really watch TV as much right now.
I get what you're saying, but then you're, like, forced to watch something that,
Okay, you're right. But what if the TV is just like, oh, these are the programs that, and you can just click to watch any. Well, I guess Netflix is that, isn't it?
what?
Like Netflix and these streaming platforms, like the visual ones, you can just go to these specific categories.
Yeah. Like,
But I
watch
feel like
one-
people don't like the content on that shit.
Hey, I like some Netflix shows.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if they have that on YouTube, I think it's even better, because I do think people like viewing YouTube because it's less super professional.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's more like, for example,
It's more like casual, everyday use.
yeah, like if they like someone's personality, they're like, oh, I know in this video this person's gonna give me his personality and he's cooking, as opposed to like this show where it's like there's contestants and I like one person and I'm gonna see
More
like,
personal.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
and they'll get a lot more from that one person. Like there'll be a bunch of content that they can watch.
Right. And based on their personality, if you resonate with that, you'll probably like their interests more than this like super produced show where it's like some higher up who's approving the content.
Yeah, because I think there's people distinguish in their mind shows, television series, and then like YouTube content.
Yep.
Same thing with like movies, obviously. And there are people that are constantly trying to like up it to that level, but I don't think it's ever going to happen or happen anytime in the near future.
I don't think people even like that.
I think some people do in doses.
Yep.
Like if it's like every now and then they like it. But if it's all the time, number one, it's unsustainable, because the way YouTube works is like you have to drop once a year to probably make something that good.
Yep.
And then you're not gonna like the production cost. You're just gonna be like, okay, I'm just like in the red, $100 grand.
I mean I think Netflix is even still in the red.
Yeah, but the reason people can produce that on Netflix is because Netflix is fronting the cost.
Right. But I'm saying even they're losing money on it.
Yeah.
So like for YouTube, it's not possible to be in the green by producing such high quality content, because even the big guys are not able to make it back.
That's why I think Mr. Beast and some other people set like a false pretext for and people follow it, and I'm like, you're absolutely,
And all like the crazy thumbnails, I'm like, dude, just shut up.
and they're spending so much. I'm like, you guys this is not the way. They're like, no, dude, he like reinvested everything. I'm like, he did. Like,
That's why
that's why he built this thing around him where you can't copy, because he's like, because that's one of the principles. This like marketer from back then, he like helped Guthy Ranker, which was the business that did Proactive and a bunch of other products that were like on infomercials and stuff. He was like, the most important part to beating your competition is basically being able to spend more money to acquire a customer than them.
Yep.
So like if you only have $10 to acquire a customer and I have 100 and I have a way to sustain that, you're never going to beat me. So it's kind of like Mr. Beast, where it's like, hey, I'm so big now that I can spend $1 million on a video and I can make it incredible, but you can only spend 100 grand. You're going to run out very quickly, and then you're going to die out because you have no more funding, and then I'm just going to stay on top. So it's like this strategy where people are like, oh, I should do this too, but it's like, no, you can't do that and you shouldn't do that. And you following that is pretty much like weeding you out entirely.
Right. I think that's every business though.
But I feel like most businesses know not to copy. Like, for example, people that have smaller businesses are not going to run ads in the way that Nike's running ads.
Right.
Like, they're not going to run ads like McDonald's. They're not going to just put like plaster like something. They're like, dude, this isn't going to get us any sales. Like, we need this to turn into something.
Right.
But I think people that make content or are in this game, they don't think like that.
Well, because I think YouTube is such a easy business. It's like you just upload, collect the check from AdSense. YouTube does all the actual work with the placing of the ads. So like even I myself, like, yeah, I have a business, but like it's way less convoluted than a regular business. So what I'm saying is these people who are following the Mr. Beast and whatnot, they don't have the same intellect or experience to know not to follow it, because it's such like a low barrier to entry business.
Yeah.
Does that make sense at all?
To a degree, but I also know certain people, and there's also the idea where it's like, oh no, you only have to drop bangers, right? Like quality over quantity thing. And I literally know someone like this, a young dude, and he's a friend of mine, and I always shit on him for it. I'm like, dude, nope. Number one, so like he'll make a video, and it's a really good video, right? Especially for his audience. It's good content, well edited, good storyline, everything. But he'll drop like 3 times a year. And it's like, dog, like you're broke.
You're not gonna make money that way.
Yeah, and then he'll be like, oh well, you know, like I have to have an idea that's really good, and I pretty much tell him like, dude, or like this doesn't make sense for like my channel. I'm like, dude, you have got like 10 videos. Yeah, you've got some videos that have done well, like hundreds of thousands, but like nobody, by the time you upload a video after someone found you, they don't even remember you.
It's been like that algorithm.
Yeah,
too.
it's been not even that. You fell out of their algorithm, so you're getting new viewers.
That's what I'm saying.
But people don't even know you. So it's like nobody cares about this but you. You're better off uploading frequently, like maybe like once a week or once every 2 weeks, about like something that's decent, so people get to know you more. But it's unsustainable, number one. And like, what, you're gonna drop 4 videos a year for what?
So what I'm gathering here, and I already kind of knew, streaming is the meta.
Yeah, if you're willing to put in a lot of time, yes.
I think there's ways to do it efficiently where you don't have to. I mean, I personally don't think I put, like, I'm not doing 5 hours a day like Aiden.
I think this is the right transition. If you already have a base, I think you build the base first. If you already have a base and you have disposable income, then I think streaming works.
Why do you need disposable income?
You need to spread the streams.
Okay.
Whether that's labor in terms of like people creating clips that you can repost, or having clips posted.
You can do
in
that
certain
yourself,
places.
though.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, if you've got the income, then you don't need to do it. Is what I'm saying. And you can just focus on streaming more or making content. But IRL is a trap.
IRL is a trap.
IRL streaming is the biggest
that's
trap.
That's basically like the Mr. Beast that we just talked about before, but with streamers.
IRL streaming is the biggest trap.
Because most people don't get subscribers. Like, I don't understand why people subscribe to Twitch channels. Like, how?
It's free.
What's
That's
the
why.
motivation?
Subscribing to a Twitch channel is free if you have Amazon Prime.
Okay.
So that's like half of people's subs.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, other than that, how do you get the other half? Like, why? It's hard for me to justify.
So there's like incentives. Number one, there's ads, right? So like you don't get ads. And the ads on Twitch are aids.
Okay.
Like I stopped watching Twitch because, so this is how it used to work. You used to have Amazon Prime, and if you had Amazon Prime, you get no ads at all on the whole website.
Okay.
Eventually they made it to where,
because everyone has Prime.
Yeah, they made it to where no, only the person you're sub to with Prime, you don't have ads for.
Okay.
So if you watch 3 to 4 people, you're getting ads for 3 out of 4 of them. So you're like, this is cancer. And so I think subscription, so the incentive is, hey, I watch this person so frequently, $5 starts to seem like very little. Like if someone's always working and they have someone playing, if like in their free time they're watching them, $5 becomes very little. There's incentives like, number one, you don't get ads. There's also like these kind of like little badges. Like it's like a little flex, right?
No, yeah, I know.
So if you're like, yo, someone, like if you're like, yo, I've been here for 12 months, especially if you caught someone blowing up. Like I remember I think I'm still sub to him. I think I'm still paying him $5 because I see the receipt sometimes and I'm like, oh shit. Like XQC, I found this guy like 6 years ago. So I'm like a 60-something month sub. And because I found him when the dude was really small. And I don't even watch him. I haven't watched him for like 2 years, maybe. But yeah, that's like an incentive. And then also, like, if I'm a 69-month sub, like, I might as well just keep paying the $5, right? Like,
I'm not doing that.
It's $5. Like, it's not a big deal. So, and there's more communal aspects for those things too. And I think the community that was fostered by Twitch as a platform incentivized supporting creators. Yeah, that's something that Kick doesn't have. And that's something that I think Rumble has it because a lot of Rumble streamers have like this cause that they're pushing for. So it's kind of political to a degree, not all of them, but people are more willing to get behind things that are political, conspiratorial, religious, etc. Whereas like Kick, it's kind of like, okay, this is entertaining. Well, yeah, gambling. This is entertaining, but why would I like give money to this person? And that's what you see. There was this guy, this dude that was streaming on Kick. I don't know if you've seen the clips. He's like a relatively new dude, and he's just saying wild stuff. I think he said something about Lil Tay or something like that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So that guy,
Suggs or something.
yeah. So he opened up his his Kick dashboard, and I think he had like 189 subscribers. And I'm like, this guy is doing the most.
How many viewers?
I don't know. I didn't see the viewers, but he had. I'm pretty sure it was less than 200. There's no way it was 600. Anyway, well, let's just say less than 200. So we'll give him 200, and let's say he's getting 95%, whatever. Let's give him all the $5. That's like what, $1,000 a month to say the most wildest stuff on the internet, and your face is on it, and it's everywhere.
Yep.
Now, if he has like a steak deal or something, that's a different story.
That's why I think the actual streaming isn't profitable unless you're getting like thousands of subs a month. But that's why the YouTube clips are the real moneymaker.
But that's why I think that's why I say IRL streaming is a scam, because if someone has a personality, right? Like, what's his name does this? Kanel Joseph. I don't know if you've seen him. He's a cool guy. I met him. He's a YouTuber he was kind of like a prank YouTuber to a degree, but people mess with his personality. He did this whole series. I wouldn't say he was kind of like a Gideon, but he's in the same like field, right?
Okay.
And then he started streaming, and then people mess with him, and he's big, and people like his personality to where eventually I think he could just like be kicking it, reacting, or like playing a game, and then people will just
I think that once you get to that point where people are just chilling with you for no reason, you're golden.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're kicking it at that point.
Yeah.
And I also think a lot of Kick and streamers don't incentivize people or even urge them to like subscribe. I think if they did that, they would get more.
With the cheap ass bastard that I am, with being that, it's hard for me to be like, yo, give me $5 real quick.
Yeah, well, you're also not sitting there for 8 hours a day every single day.
It's also true. Is there an incentive for me to do that?
I think you'd have to knock, if you knocked videos out the park for like 5 to 6 months. Yeah, I think you could easily do that. Because I'm looking at people that I watch right now whose content I like. Like, for example, I really like this dude, Tyler Oliveira. He was kind of a Mr. Beast-esque creator. And then I think he realized, like, this business model is trash. And
I think that's most people.
Yeah. And then
get on YouTube.
And then he started doing these kind of like investigative, like kind of like journalistic pieces to a degree. Where he's like, oh, I'm going to this city that something's going on at, and I'm asking the people. He doesn't really give his opinion either. He's just like, I'm asking what's going on, and then he documents it. And he makes a video, and it goes crazy. Does good views. And I think he's definitely making more money with that now. But if that guy started live streaming, his face is everywhere. Everyone's seen his face. His content is really good. And if he's streaming and just talking about stuff that's somewhat related to his content, like, oh yeah, this is how we made this video, I think he could work himself to the point where like he's just kicking it and streaming.
Yeah.
Because streaming is like broadcasting now. It's like people want to see, well, videos are kind of like this too, but it's the next level of seeing someone every day. So for example, like it's a radio show.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, I'm going to see this person for several hours every day. And then if people have like more call-in shows, I think that's something that isn't done enough. Like people do it on Discord, but
a lot of people tell me to start a podcast. I'm like, streaming is basically a podcast.
yeah.
There's no point. Podcast is literally just like a waste of money. It's like you already have the whole setup right there. You can use a webcam. But nah, we want fancy microphones to be hooked up to the table and stand here and be like, what's up?
I think that shit is nonsense too. I think the setup is nonsense. Like if entertaining people that have entertaining conversations are literally sitting cross-legged on the grass on a park with 2 microphones, they would still listen to it.
I mean, do you know Alex Earl?
No.
You don't know Alex Earl? She's the like biggest girl on TikTok.
No.
Okay. Well, anyway, she's like the new Charlie D'Amelio, but like she's older, so she went to Miami actually. She lives here. Basically, girls range from like 14 to 30 follow her. But she has a Spotify podcast now, but she just gets a mic and just chills on like a hotel bed and just like talks to her friend. No expensive setup, just...
So she got a Spotify deal.
I think that she got a deal through like Call Her Daddy or something like that. That's like a media company now. But it's like what they're starting to do too is traveling podcasts. It's almost like a vlog, but you are on Spotify. I think it's probably on YouTube as well. But like people can you can do a podcast literally anywhere. You could pull your phone out right here and do a podcast.
Yeah.
But people always err to get a huge setup.
I think that's the most like nonsensical.
Yeah, like I didn't have to do all this like light shit. That was literally, I knew it wasn't a return on investment at all. It's just like, I just wanted it.
Yeah. But also if you're going to have more than like 3 to 4 people, then I think like it starts getting kind of dicey. But even then there are like I literally have it in my suitcase. It's like a recorder and it has 4 XLR plugs.
Right.
And it's portable.
Right. And then also, but when you get multiple, I never understand this. So their podcast, like 4 people, right? You're splitting all that money. There's no way these people are making good money.
Oh yeah, no, of course not. But I mean, like if you have multiple guests.
Of course.
Also, this Alice Earl, is that her name?
Alex.
So that brings me back. When I check YouTube, I think women's content is so underdeveloped and lagging behind guys. Because I see chicks blowing up. I'm like, what the hell is this thumbnail? What the hell is this? This is such basic content. If a guy made this and it, like, let's just say not the same content, but they adopted it to apply to a man, it would flop.
There was saw something on Twitter yesterday where this guy changed his profile picture to a woman. He announced it before he did it to his followers, and he said, I'm going to change my profile picture to a woman, and I'm going to tweet like I'm a woman, but kind of keep like the same content. And his impressions, all his stats, like doubled or tripled. So it literally proves what you just said.
Yeah, but I think that's a different platform. Because for YouTube, I think it's going to just take them... And the girls that are making this content, they're not doing like content that's like They're not doing like try-ons or any of that shit. They're doing like some like regular like day in the life, like some
that's what I'm talking
regular
about.
Chick stuff.
This dude on the Twitter like tweeted like he was a girl. It's true. Like there are sports like reporters who are women. They're famous because they're women. I'm not saying they don't have like the knowledge, but like I'm sure there's some guy on the couch right now watching ESPN who could say the exact same information, but like they just have like you have a starting kit of just like you're likely pretty and cool to look at, and then the guys or girls will continue to listen to you just because of that.
But sports is a male-dominated place, so I think that's different.
But in general, like
I've seen it every vertical.
A female face is just more attractive to look at than a man's.
I just think I don't know, man.
Why do people watch Pokemon? Why do people watch like Valkyrie?
Well, Pokemon is different. She was like, those are male-dominated spaces. Pokemon played League of Legends, and she streamed League of Legends, which is a very, very male-dominated game. She was the only chick that streamed it, really.
Right.
And yeah, she just blew up.
But okay, even with girls, as you said, there's a lack of content.
Not lack of content.
I think there's a lack of content in general.
Oh, you mean lack of like supply?
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
So it's underdeveloped. Just a girl get on there, probably if you're pretty. I think it has to do with men are based on their money and status. Women are based on their looks, right? Traditionally.
I'm willing to accept that.
I think it's just a fact. But like if a girl's ugly, nobody gives a fuck. Like fat bitches just shut the fuck up type thing. That's a meme, but it's true. If you're a pretty woman and you just talk like the makeup halls. They might be trash at makeup, but just because they're pretty, like they get this added credibility in the women realm.
Yeah.
No matter what they're doing.
But I think they can't be too hot. Because any of these really, really famous chicks on content, like they're never, like let's say like mind-blowingly, like they're not Madison Beer, right?
I think that's just because there's a lack of incentive for a very beautiful woman to actually work.
Because you know what I'm thinking about? Like I'm thinking about it. Like I was just talking to you about this Tyler Oliveira dude. If some guy came in and his girl was, dude, she could be slightly chubby,
Right?
and just like wasn't hard to look at, and he had her doing the same content, and he had it edited well and good thumbnails, that chick would lap that dude in a year.
Yeah. But what you were saying before, like the hot women, why would they be working all day when they could literally just be bought Birkins and shit? Like they're chilling with fucking billionaires.
So maybe we're playing the game wrong. We're trying to make the content. We need to find.
I mean, we already discussed. I was trying to get my girl into it, but it just doesn't work out like that because hot girls don't want to work, bro. I don't want my girl to work either. I want to like not spoil her.
Maybe you have
like,
to find a mid girl to work.
Yeah, but then that's just like gross. You don't want to work with a mid girl.
What do you mean? They're gonna make you money. This is like a business.
I
thing.
know. I agree.
I think this is where the opportunity. You know what's funny? Like the chick that needs to hear this message. Like chicks don't watch her stuff. Well, like 1% do. What's up to the 1% that do? The ones that need to hear this don't.
Yeah.
Won't hear it.
Right.
And then I think what a lot of them try to do.
You think they're bothering going into intellectual content? Not that we're that intellectual, but like business minded shit. No, the hot girls are fucking
Watching Alex Earl.
Alex Earl, being like, oh
And
my
Bobby
god.
Alphoff.
So when I was 14, that happened to me too. Like some guy tried to like press me against the wall. I felt so uncomfortable. And now my friend is like, she fucked my boyfriend and blah, 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 blah. Like it's all like that.
There's no way
content.
that's her podcast.
Dude, it's talking about like she gets calls in from fans and it's like what would Alex do? That's one of the segments. And it's like girls being like, so my friend like did something bad to me and didn't apologize and then I didn't get one was like I didn't get invited to like my friend's trip, but like all the rest of the friends in the group got invited. I didn't know if I should bring this up to her and be like I was offended. Like I'm serious.
I don't believe this.
It is real. I remember. My girl was on her iPad over there, and I heard it, and I started making fun of her for it.
So what did she tell her to do?
Like, you need to like have a one-on-one with her. Like, ask her, like, are we just we're not as good as friends as I thought. Like that kind of shit.
Oh my goodness.
Where like men would be like, oh yeah, you know, there's probably something. Maybe we're not as close as I thought. Keep pushing.
Meanwhile, the guy's got to like research like 25 different things. Damn.
That's what I'm saying. And Alex is like known as she's dating like an NFL player. She's hot, obviously.
So how do they even relate to her? Because let's keep it. So if like a guy is watching content and he's like, oh this. So let's just say it's a rich kid. If the person was a rich kid, they're like, okay, I'm dismissing this person's advice. That's why I think people like Andrew Tate because they're like, okay, so this guy was broke. He was dirt poor. He had nothing. And he didn't go to school or anything. And he made something of himself. That's crazy. But if he was like rich, like he was born rich and he was doing this, nobody would be listening to him.
That's
But isn't that chick like the equivalent of that?
But see, that's the whole like where men and women put their value, or not necessarily where they get their value. Women are valued for their looks. And people might be offended by that, but like that's just how it is. Men are about their status. You have a higher status when you made your money, right? Because you're right. When I meet I have friends who like get parents buy their houses. I'm like, you're kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
But like for her, how she blew up, your question before, it was just how she was relatable. She did like get ready with me and she was in college at University of Miami, school I went to, and just before they went out to clubs and like whatever, and girls like to be like, oh yeah, it's like the exact same situation of, you know, you get all your girls in one room, you start talking gossip or whatever, trying on clothes. Oh, I don't like this dress, let me try on another one, blah blah blah, and then it turned into something crazy.
This is madness.
I also think that the women content might be like a little bit lower barrier to entry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm saying if they just like put in a little
I don't
bit
even
of
know if
effort-
there's an ROI for what you're talking about with like, why do, it's like the Mr. Beast thing. Why go through all the editing thing when you can just have a poster girl, she talks and has credibility because she's hot. Maybe have a little bit of production value, but like other than that, they can literally just. My girl just watches vlogs of other girls trying on makeup, going throughout their day, making their fucking like iced cappuccino.
That's literally the content I'm talking about.
Yeah, like it's doing nothing. You just need a hot girl just to do that, and then be like pumping out the content, because otherwise, you know, it's not going to turn into a business. They get lazy. That girls don't really need money like that. They're not investing, most are not investing in stocks and like worrying about providing for their families. It's like, I've had conversations with girls here. Maybe it's biased because I live in Miami, but like one was just waiting on, she was looking at like a condo or something because she got some money. All right, are we getting into the legendary rappers?
The fun topic, yes. Yes.
All right.
So who that has died do you think would have fell off by now? That people I wouldn't say gas, but that people admire and enjoy very much and say they would have been superstars.
Yeah, I mean, that just goes into the question of like all of these, when a rapper dies, right? People are willy-nilly with this legend coined term on them. And I agree that maybe not all of them deserve that. But I do think Juice WRLD would still be around and he would still be killing it. I just think that he was so talented. But with that being said, with all of the drugs and everything that he was doing that was like keeping him, like he says in his songs, like the drugs are the reason he's here, they're the reason that he died too. So like, is it even possible for him to, I've heard stories like behind the scenes with rappers who chilled with him, had songs with him. He was popping like 8 perks a day while drinking lean. Like there's no way that it wasn't gonna end up like that.
So Future ruined this guy.
I guess so. I mean,
okay,
the
but
thing
so
is, though,
where do you think? All right, I agree, but where do you think he would be? Is the question.
Juice? I mean, we're talking about previously in this discussion, music as a whole is kind of like, and especially this niche, is maybe smaller than it was before, which is a fact.
Mm-hmm.
We have Yeat, but like, Yeat's the new up-and-comer, but he's hitting like 57 to 70. Juice WRLD was 200 easy with Death Race for Love. And then we had X and all this. So, what was the question? Who would?
No, how? Where do you think? So
Where would he be?
Juice WRLD specifically, yeah. 'cause
Juice
you
WRLD?
said Juice WRLD out of all of these people.
I mean,
for sure.
you see Kid Laroi right now, right? He's doing pretty good, right? But Juice also has like, he has that white boy, white girl audience.
I think Kid Laroi has that more.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I think Juice WRLD would be held back because he wasn't a white guy.
'Cause he was black?
In that realm. In that realm, yes.
I think that.
Like, do you think
I think
that
he'd
a
have
black,
an advantage though.
Do you think that a black person that was making the music Post Malone was making with all those face tattoos would become as famous as Post Malone?
I think people see black people as like a spectacle in general.
Yeah, but I'm saying the level of
So
fame.
I think they have a higher threshold. I mean, look at
I don't
all
think
of,
so, dude.
Look at all of the biggest artists in the world. Who's the top selling artist? Drake. Yeah, he's light skinned, which I do think that like
That helps him so much.
being half white, yeah, it like broadens the appeal.
Eminem, some Korean acts, the Miley Cyrus, like we're
Okay.
just gonna list off.
Michael
we're basically-
Jackson, he was black but like went white, basically.
Yeah, but Michael Jackson
Prince.
is like, dude, you're telling me that like Prince was a star, but I'm talking like in the past 20 years, dude. Like I could name so many white artists.
But what's
Katy
the most
Perry.
popular genre? Hip hop. Now that might be declining, whatever. Out of that conversation.
Sure.
But like, there's a reason. It's just like NBA.
And Post Malone became the biggest guy out of that.
People, I truly think.
And Jack Harlow. Jack Harlow has the biggest hit right now. Jack
I think-
Harlow has a #1 hit.
I think
Like, let that sink in.
I think that's because he's like the white sheep in rap. So like.
Yeah, but he kind of left rap.
But so all white people in rap, all the white fans, like gravitate toward. It's like Yeet, or I'm not trying to retract from any of their like value or their songs or how good they are, but like white people, they like rap and like how degenerate it is, but then like they like coming back to white people, as racist as that
But the
sounds.
thing is, I think it's different. I don't think it's helped Yeet yet. Well, I think it's
I
helped
think
them
it
a little
has.
bit. I think it's helped them a little bit, but Yeet hasn't gotten to the point for me to say like, oh yeah, I'm gonna give someone being white credit is if they transcend like the genre and they're more mainstream. Like Yeet doesn't make music that's palatable to
Right, he's not like pop.
normies in general, whatever like
Right.
the race may be. Whereas Jack Harlow, I do think Jack Harlow raps, but this song, nobody in hip hop has heard the song, and it's a number
What?
one.
What?
People have heard it, but the number one song, I don't know what the song name is.
Glamorous?
No, the one where it's like something like I don't got no whips and chains, like something like that. See, you haven't even heard it. You haven't even heard it exactly. Like if I open up the Hot 100, see, this is crazy.
I mean, I get what your point is, but regardless, so.
But Juice WRLD.
would
So where do you
Juice
think
WRLD-
Juice WRLD would be? Because
I think Juice WRLD would be bigger than the Kid Laroi.
yeah, but the Kid Laroi, basically, he's not lit no more. Like he's big in terms of famous, but like what did his last album do? And it was a great album.
But what did Jack Harlow's album do? Like, I don't.
Yeah, but Jack Harlow's got a number one. Kid Laroi doesn't have a single hit off this album.
He has though. But anyway, maybe that wasn't a good comparison. Like Juice WRLD would be bigger than Uzi right now.
Lovin' on Me, that's the Jack Harlow song.
Okay. I think he'd be bigger than Uzi right now.
I agree.
Maybe not. Honestly, he was bigger than Uzi already.
He was already bigger than Uzi.
Yeah. So yeah, he'd be bigger than Uzi. Although he wouldn't have like fallen back. He might have like plateaued a little bit.
Dude,
But
you think people...
but he was going into like EDM with like Halsey and whatever.
Dude, I don't think that was going to last very long. Because he had one... Okay, we can't really project that, right? But if he kept making the same music
I
that
think
he
he
did
was-
on the first two albums for the next 6 years... Or no, when did he pass away?
2019.
Okay, for the next 5 years. I think... Because that whole style of music has gone.
Right, but
Because
that's
like
because
Ian
he was
Dior,
gone.
they basically just took Juice WRLD swag.
That's because he was
and it
gone.
worked. No, but I think the style of music dies out regardless.
But Juice WRLD had the personality too. Like people just loved him. He was just a great guy. Like at least from what I've seen, take out all the drugs.
yeah, but I
and
mean,
stuff.
Post Malone's a great guy too.
Yeah, but he's not like that.
Well,
Like
Post
Juice-
Malone's like a generational superstar, so
Right.
we can agree that Juice WRLD was not getting to Post Malone's level, or anywhere close. Dude, Post Malone
That's
does
hard.
not
That's
have
hard.
bad
That's
songs.
hard. That's
Post
hard.
Malone doesn't
He
have bad songs.
He doesn't. I don't think Juice WRLD does too.
Nah, he does. He has made some whack songs. Death
In-
Race
in
for
the-
Love has some skips.
Death Race for Love was no skips, bro.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe
I
this.
love Juice WRLD. Now Post Malone, that's like a whole nother level because he has number ones, I think, right?
No,
The
Post
one-
Malone is incomparable. Like this is like this generation's. Like people are gonna be listening to Post Malone in 50 years.
Yeah, he's got timeless music. I think Juice WRLD has some. The thing is, I feel like they ruined his legacy by dropping all of like the shit he had in the vault, and so it kind of like dampened like what Juice WRLD was able to do. I think he was the most versatile artist in that generation to be able to like surpass. He already did. He went into pop. Like he would have done EDM. He would have figured out a way because he made. Think about it. He had like what 6,000 songs or whatever. Imagine if he was still alive, how many songs he would have recorded, how many different people he would have recorded with. Everybody wanted to work with him. Every producer, Travis Barker.
So do you think? So do you think he would have been bigger than XXX?
See, X was a bigger personality though, but that is hard
X would have
because
been
he
like
died.
Ye.
He died 2016.
2018.
Did he?
Yeah. Because Juice
You're
WRLD
right,
made a
you're
song
right.
about them in
You're right,
2018.
2018. It was in like what, like
June.
June.
Yeah.
Okay. So, X.
Keep in mind, X was basically blackballed and independent. I think he just had a distro deal with like Empire.
But like,
Yeah.
But
And he
he-
wasn't, and the thing is, he wasn't doing like crazy first week numbers. He never had like,
X would be Cardi on steroids right now.
oh yeah, 100%.
Steroids.
Especially if if X decided to fall back a little bit, it would go crazy.
Yeah.
And
'Cause-
he made released more diverse music than Juice WRLD.
Yeah.
And I think he was willing to do anything, and he was willing to really, like for example, Juice WRLD, I don't think he was willing to take as many risks as X, because Juice WRLD could really rap, but he didn't really like do that very, very much. And I think he wanted to, but I think he just realized like, oh, I should just keep doing this. But X, he had Look at Me, and then he came out with an album that sounded nothing like it in any type of way. So I think he was more willing to risk take. I think X would have been like
Yeah.
a yay. Not production wise, but like
Yeah.
he would have had that type
He
of
doesn't
following.
care because also he had like the cult that would follow him whatever he did. Be like, yeah, fuck with that. Like he could have dropped
sure.
like a bluegrass album.
Yeah, he could have dropped like that Speeding Bullet to Heaven that Kid Cudi dropped, and people still said was
yeah,
heat.
yeah.
Yeah.
But see, that's the whole thing about his personality, where that's where it becomes so important. And same thing with Cardi. Like Cardi could do, but again, X would do to a whole nother level. But they can maneuver, and the fans are still fans of them, not just the music. Because X had this whole spiritual element.
But the thing is, so we can agree Lil Peep wasn't really going to go far. I don't think Lil Peep would have got to where Suicide Boys got to.
Bro, I understand Lil Peep's influence in the underground and like maybe that led to something, but like I don't understand how people say like he's an underground legend, perhaps.
Sure, underground
I didn't
legend.
really know much about him prior to his death,
He's 100% underground legend.
but regarding like mainstreams, he actually when you listen to it, it kind of does have like more. It has somewhat mainstream appeal, right? Because it's
Yeah.
like emo rap alternative type, right?
But you got to think, the success that MGK had with that Tickets to My Downfall album, if Lil Peep dropped that, it would have went perfect with Lil Peep. So that's where that just came to my mind. So if MGK had that resurgence, that revived
that
his
do?
career.
What
It
did that-
revived his career.
that
The
hit
dude
like a-
started doing
that-
like arenas.
Yeah, no. I like that album too.
Nah, that's just fire. Yeah, people hate on me for that. I'm like, yo, that album's great.
Yeah, it's fire. I listened to that shit on repeat back in the day.
Yeah,
but
I would just spin
as
it.
gay as it sounds, but and my girl put me onto that shit because they love the whole Megan Fox thing
Yeah, she is.
relationship. But anyway, would Lil Peep get that? But is that huge? But I guess also first week sales, he got like 100K or something
It's
like
like
that.
120.
But
You got to think,
in that genre,
Peep would
though.
have built up to that. MGK just like stepped into that.
Right.
So it would have gone crazier for Peep.
I can see that. Although I think he had
And when
like,
he died, I don't even think emo rap had took off. Like he died before X even really blew up, I think. He died in 2016 or 17. He died in 2017, I think.
I don't
Emo
remember.
rap peaked like 2018, 19.
There was like a string of just condensed
Yeah.
passings. I could see him being like a better MGK that like wasn't corny.
Yeah.
Like he truly lived the rock star lifestyle rather than just getting like black. Did you see MGK's black tattoo?
Yeah, I did.
Just like it looks like shoulder pads.
Yeah, I did. Like what MGK does outside of music is like what Meek does on social media. I'm just like, man,
What?
I just
He
can't.
fucks Diddy.
It just no. It just messes. It just messes everything up.
Yeah.
But I think MGK had more of like the showmanship and kind of like the confidence that Lil Peep didn't have, which I think like matters a lot, especially when like performing, being able to kind of take heat. I think Lil Peep was very like scared, shy, like more reserved, which you kind
I
of
don't
have to
know.
get out of. But okay, so Pop Smoke. I was thinking Pop Smoke was falling off before he died.
He did not blow up that far before.
Yeah, he just had Dior.
Yeah. But then drill became a whole thing.
You're right. But this is
So-
where I changed my mind. Because after Pop Smoke passed away, they dropped the album that was pretty much already ready. And I really liked that album. I was like, oh, this is really,
Had more
really
mainstream
good.
hits. It had like big songs on there.
Yeah, and it had him doing different styles. Because I thought it was just going to be the same thing that was on like Meet the Woo and Meet the Woo 2. I was like, people are going to get tired of this. It's like 504 when he first came out. People got tired of it until he like switched it up.
I'm still tired of him.
So
I
if
never
he-
liked him actually.
So if he kept like that kind of trajectory, I think Pop Smoke would have been good.
I think he would have had New York on his back.
But he has Pop Smoke does have a really, really global audience. Because he was like the face of new drill.
Right. And then UK would have fucked with him.
Yeah, he would have done stuff over there for sure.
Germany probably
Because
would
he
have.
took like their sound pretty much, their production.
Yeah, I think Pop Smoke would be huge. It is weird that people just like label legend on like people who you never really saw them surmount to their potential.
Dude, people put legend on what's his name? Who's the guy that made? I can't believe I'm forgetting his name off the top of my
What
head.
did he make?
The Cream Soda Fago song. Six Dogs.
Yes.
Like
People were saying that?
I like that guy. I
Whoa.
like that guy's music. But Legend is crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Cause like he kind of, no hate, but he kind of like fell off a little bit.
He was just a very if you know artist.
Yeah, like very underground. Never really made it out to main. Although he did have a TikTok song, right?
I don't know.
I think so. But yeah, to call someone a legend like that is kind of. I understand where they're coming from, where it could have been, but Dogs, I don't think it would have reached to where people like Juice World. Like I understand X, I
Yeah.
understand Pop Smoke, understand, but even to a lesser degree than X and Juice. Lil Peep, maybe understand.
Yeah, Pop.
Underground legend, but
So Pop Smoke would definitely, we can agree, Pop Smoke would not have been on X Juice level in terms of like years passed into his career.
I mean, where is Drill at? I'm pretty
Drill's
biased
dead.
because,
In America, drill is pretty dead. Globally, drill is the biggest
but I
thing
feel
ever.
like he kind of brought like this. He almost had like a Ja Rule thing to him, like on the pop songs, kind of. Where like
I mean, he kind of had a 50 Cent thing, really.
yeah,
a degree.
okay, yeah, similar, where he had songs that maybe he had this like super like deep raspy masculine voice on like something that was a hit, like could be a mainstream hit, but I think he could have. I think he could have gone really far. I don't think he had the same pull as X or Juice though.
Yeah. Okay, I can see what you're saying. Like, they can make him like a mainstream appeal in terms of like, hey, we're going to spin radio for this guy.
Yes,
Maybe he won't have the craziest fan base, but everyone listens to him. They play him in the
he
club.
has TikTok songs still.
They play him in the club,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, I could see that. And then in that sense, you could even say he potentially would have broader appeal. Because there are, like, for example, Kendrick has broader appeal than Ye. But Ye has, like, way more condensed, like, strength in fans.
right.
And I would say, like, Ye's bigger just because, like, he's had such a diversity
He's
of
iconic
music.
outside of his
it
music, too.
Yeah.
Kendrick's like a music icon. Kanye's like a icon.
Yeah, but I think musically Kanye's still better than Kendrick.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But so
Yeah,
Pop Smoke-
I think you might be right because like Kid Leroy would not be like he would be a Juice World like
he'd be a
he'd be an Ian Dior.
yeah. I was about to say that.
If Juice World did not pass away, Kid Leroy would be Ian Dior right now.
Right. Juice World and X passing away, and people already talk about this, so this is nothing new. They created like a void, and that's why emo rap kind of died. Now, I'm not saying emo rap would still be a thing now, but it would have like evolved into something else where right now it's super grungy, like Ken Carson, Osama Sun, Yeats on some like progressed rage where it's like alien noises.
I got this. Now, do you think so? People have talked about that, but did that rob this generation? Because like if you look at early 2010s,
Did Rage?
no, not Rage, them dying. So like it's always like, oh yeah, emo rap like
'Cause
kind of
the
died because of that.
influences died.
Because like people always talk about Drake, Kendrick, Cole, right? It was like kind of like this class. They kind of made like somewhat different music, and that's like the pinnacle of that generation. And then they're like, yeah, that's all we have left. That's still what we have. But for this generation, it's kind of like, hey, that would have been X and Juice for sure, and then probably Pop Smoke.
I get what you're saying.
So then you can't really. So if
is
they had
that,
stayed,
is that the reason for the downfall of rap? I see what you're saying though, because then
Yeah.
it creates like a trickle down effect where if they would have been the top, then the next there'd be like another level of influence where the next class is coming up. Whereas right now, it's what are we at? Like who are the OGs right now? Like Cardi, Uzi,
and they're like 2016.
Trippy, but Trippy's already gone down.
Yeah, I think Trippy's just like kind of like in his own world.
But so Cardi and Uzi, there's probably some other people but that's just my world.
But that's what I'm saying is, I think X Juice, whatever, we're gonna be above Cardi.
yeah,
is.
yeah, I agree.
So and then what happens with that?
That's why I
is-
went like-
so Drake, Kendrick, whatever, they start putting on people around them. Like for example, like Schoolboy Q became huge, but that's in part because he was rolling with Kendrick.
Like all TDE, like
SZA,
Absol.
same thing, yeah. So I think, and X was already like working with, like he was willing to work with other artists. I mean, like he had his own crew, and I don't think they would have really amounted to much because they weren't really talented. But if he saw somebody that was really good, I think they would have worked with them, and then their fans would have adopted them, and I think they would have kept a scene alive. Because I think I wouldn't say like hip hop in general to be alive, but for there to be a thriving community around music, there has to be like these pillars that are so like vital and so like people are so enamored with that they're like, hey, we're following what these guys are doing. And that was like
Who they co-sign.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then that would have kept it pushing, even if they maybe cooled off a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. And then also they probably would have, like Trippy would still be a top dog right now if X was still alive, because I mean actually they had a beef, but like say they fixed that, made amends, and then X was like the top. Trippy would still be up there.
And Ski would still be up there too.
Ski, but Ski kind of started falling off after.
But they all had a whole scene. Like, because Ski had a huge... Ski's album in 2019, I think it was.
Stokely.
Was huge.
Yeah.
Like, that did so many numbers. That he had the song with Juice WRLD that went crazy. So Ski and Trippy were kind of in the world of X, Juice, and I wouldn't say Pop Smoke, but they were like in that
It was
world.
almost like emo rap, but even though Ski doesn't make emo rap, but
Yeah.
the SoundCloud scene.
Yeah.
But then like they would have influenced a whole nother SoundCloud scene, like above Ken and them, Destroy Lonely, Osama Sun.
Yeah.
That would be like Yeat is really like the only might be like the last hope right now for underground going mainstream.
Yeah, he's the only one.
I feel like
But-
people are already kind of getting tired of Lone a little bit. I'm just talking about
But the thing is,
perception-wise.
Cardi's not even mainstream. That's the thing.
Right.
So I don't
And
think
Uzi
that
kind of
music...
fell back too.
I don't think that music can go mainstream. Like,
Yeah.
Just Wanna Rock... What are Uzi's biggest hits? EXO Tour Life, Just Wanna Rock?
The Way Life Goes, 20 Minutes.
Yeah. I don't even think 20 Minutes was like top 10.
Yeah, but it like was a
Right.
slow growth.
Okay, so that's kind of like Goosebumps
Yeah.
for Travis. So I wouldn't really count that. But the songs that Uzi does have, those are very like mainstream friendly songs. Cardi doesn't have any like.
I mean, he
smash
has
hits.
features where he's like Pain 993, Carnival is going crazy.
That's the only one. Carnival, and then he
Fiend.
had yeah, that's a track.
He-
But how is that? Did that even chart that crazy? I think that's just like a kind of like a Goosebumps where like everyone knows it and they mess. Well, I did. It was in the top 40 for sure.
Cardi has a stimulus package.
But he doesn't have it on his own.
Yeah.
Like the closest thing that he has, I'm pretty sure it's Magnolia. But that's
Yeah.
because Magnolia and Self-Titled was the most accessible to mainstream. After that, it's
I think Sky too because of TikTok.
oh yeah. But after that, I think it's a good move because sure, he might not have a smash hit that is like on radio and everyone's listening to, but his fans like just are absolutely obsessed with it. So he doesn't even have to worry about falling off. Well, everyone needs to be like concerned with where their career is going. But I think he's in a great position, better than artists that need a hit. Like if Jack
Right.
Harlow didn't come with a hit, it was not
It was raps.
Yeah, it was not going to look good.
Yeah. But I'm trying to think. But you're right. Cardi and Uzi, like, they're great artists and OGs, but they would not. Maybe they're not carrying as much as people think.
Yeah, I
For the
think
next generation.
they're just them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Cardi kind of is.
Yeah.
He built
Cardi,
like
Cardi's
a label.
carrying as much as he can.
I think he's done a lot.
Yeah.
Like I
He's
think
made the new
Destroy
net
Lonely is
underground.
an actual like. No, like we can say too that Yeet like kind of came from Cardi's like fandom,
Mm-hmm.
but Destroy Lonely came directly from Cardi, and I like Destroy
So
Lonely.
did Ken
He's
Carson.
good. Yeah, but I don't like Ken Carson. I think he's trash. And I do think like you have to admit Destroy Lonely makes objectively better music than Ken Carson.
Yeah. More broadly appealing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, all right, let's just go by last album.
Yeah. I mean, I like old Ken's music.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so that's not recent.
But yeah, you're right. I liked If Looks Could Kill more than like A Great Chaos.
Yeah. So I think he's actually like keeping it alive, where he can make a crew. If you can make a people really into.
If you can put people on, you know you have influence.
Yeah, and then them genuinely like the people
Yeah.
and anticipate them kind of like as much as they anticipate you.
So what you're saying is we don't have enough people. It's not necessarily the new underground is bad or broadly appealing. It's just that we lost like the mentors for the next generation. We lost the X, Juice, Peep, whatever.
Yeah, I
Pop
didn't think
Smoke.
about that before today, but I would say that's probably it. I
Yeah.
think that's a big.
No, I
part
think
of
so.
it. Because when else has that ever happened? Like, oh yeah, like you lost like Biggie and Pac in the '90s, and people still talk about that.
Right.
But there was just such an abundance of talent back then, as well. So like people kind of filled it in. Like there's Nas, there's Jay-Z, but in the 2000s that never really happened. Like what massive rapper died in the 2000s?
Yeah. 50 Cent got shot.
Yeah, exactly, and that was before he blew up.
Yeah.
2010s, it didn't really happen until like later in the 2010s. Then like Mac Miller died, but Mac Miller was never a mainstream like act, huge like act.
Yeah. I agree.
Like he kind of just existed, and he was like
People
he
knew
had
him,
his own
though.
pocket. Yeah, everyone knew him,
Yeah.
and
He
everyone
might not
like
have had like
listened
the
to
big
his music.
hits though.
Yeah, but I'm saying he he didn't die until like way after that
Right.
like generation already had their own three. So I think this is like 2015, post 2015 is really when it got like bad, and then
Maybe it's because it hit such a peak where like kids were blowing up to the extreme that's what happens. Like you have like whenever a stock market crashes, it goes up.
I think it's the drugs thing too. I think people started doing way more drugs post 2015. Like X was kind of like a very unique case, like kind of like a freak incident, but it was from a lack of, like having proper security and like moving around. But and a lot of people getting locked up, like YNW Melly getting locked up. YNW Melly was huge.
That's what I'm saying, just in
Tay K
general.
getting 55 years. I think people would have followed Tay K, but I didn't really care for his music.
I like TK, but he didn't have a lot of music out.
Yeah, exactly. But so that's two people that just got locked up and they lost their careers. And there's probably more I'm like forgetting off the top of my head that got locked up. Pooh Shiesty had a run, and he got locked up. He was actually really lit.
Glock 40 Spaz.
Is that guy? Where's that guy at? He's locked up?
He's locked up for aggravated assault. He's like, he would be the top of the underground right now.
Everybody's getting locked up.
But that was more recently. That was like last year.
Yeah.
He robbed
I think
the thing.
even Kodak is big now, but like Kodak and X, that song went crazy.
It was X and Juice, bro.
Yeah.
X and Juice
And then
literally.
Pop Smoke.
They
And
would
Pop
have
Smoke.
for the street side, yeah.
I think that would have been like
That trio would have carried music, like not necessarily their music, although yes, that would too, but just the influence they had on everywhere else. It would have made. It would have been like the Renaissance, you know. But like if the king and queens die, you got nothing to pay for everything else.
Yeah, it's kind of like you cut it at the head, and then everything falls off.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the head of the organization, and well, we came to a
That's
profound
crazy.
conclusion.
Yeah.
today.
So that's why.
So we've come full circle. We started with why hip hop is dead, and we figured out why.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not just like the fall off of emo rap. It's the fall off of, like, the greatest influences.
Yeah, because dude, just imagine if in 2012, you know, like God forbid, like Drake gets like 40 years in prison, Kendrick passes away somehow, and then J. Cole passes away. Like, what the hell would happen? Like, we don't know what would happen.
Yeah.
Like, what we would have Meek Mill and Big Sean. that's literally
dude.
who was number 4 and 5. It was Meek Mill and Big Sean.
That'd be terrible. Bro.
And look where Meek Mill and Big Sean are at right now. Like, Big Sean hasn't done anything embarrassing, right? And, you know, he's dropped, like, good music. I like the 2088 stuff. But, like, Big Sean is not even in the conversation of top 10 now in that decade.
Yeah, dude. I mean, imagine if, like, we'd be in a heap of trouble if Cardi and Uzi and, like, Yachty and Trippie passed away, too. Like, imagine. The whole scene would have been dead.
Yeah.
There would have been a whole bunch of garbage SoundCloud rappers who were trying to, like, be all spiritual like X, and, like, people were already trying to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what's his name? Tokyo's Revenge.
Oh, my God.
He tried to do all of that,
Yeah.
and they got exposed.
That was bad. That guy has never come out from the cave that he crawled in.
You shouldn't come back from that cave.
Yeah, you're right.
No, that is not cool.
I have not heard that name in years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm probably gonna have to bleep that name out
Why?
because he's going around suing a bunch of people that just even mentioned him. Well, we didn't say anything. We just said, yeah.
Nah,
we
I
can
defended Dante.
You can just leave that.
I
in.
defended Dante when that happened. That's how
What
I met.
happened?
That's
That
how I
happened?
met Dante. Met him online because Dante like talked about the allegations, and then Tokyo's Revenge like threatened to sue him.
Really,
Or
that
was-
happened?
Yeah,
With
or,
Dante?
yeah, or it was like saying that his label was gonna sue, and then Dante talked about it on his story, or maybe it was another clip, and then I was like, first of all, Tokyo's Revenge literally like in a Discord admitted to it happening. Therefore, what would you sue him for? Defamation? One of the requirements of defamation is knowing something is false, but still acting like it's true, but it's literally true. So you're just stating the facts. It's not defamation.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I made a video on that. Then Dante came in like the next day that I streamed and like donated, I think it was like $500.
Jeez,
Yeah, I was like, oh shit.
that is moron. See, he made the right pivot.
Who?
Dante into streaming
Yeah.
at the right time. He was ahead of the game in streaming.
He's smart.
Yeah.
And now he just chills and makes
And I
fucking
think it's
bread.
good for him too because he doesn't have to, obviously he has to deal with drawbacks. Any streamer does because I think fans are more fervent. But he doesn't have to deal with drawbacks like Kai and Speed. Like he's not at their fame level, but he can just kick it. And I think he's married too, so he can just kick
He's
it
like
and stream.
he's like tier.
He can literally
2.
run a 9 to 5 that he enjoys and then like go,
Yeah.
do whatever he wants after.
chilling. He's out of the public spotlight and the controversy and scrutiny. People just love him. Like that's honestly the best tier to be in.
Yeah.
He's not doing the controversial shit. He's just chilling at home playing.
I mean, it's hard to even dislike that guy though. Like,
Yeah, no, Dante's a goat. That's a goat right there. That's a legend. That's a streaming legend. When you look back at streamers, Dante, Flight,
I don't know. Soluminati.
Soluminati.
Soluminati is a goat.
Soluminati's a goat.
Soluminati might be like top one. I don't think I've been entertained by somebody like I have Soluminati.
Soluminati is, yeah.
That guy is hilarious.
Yeah. I like him.
Dude, man. Also, that's a guy that literally just made his money and bought a house and just kicked it and said, screw this.
Yeah, but you think that shit that he does on his spiritual channel is real? Like, you think he believes that?
Yeah, I think he's delusional enough to believe that.
Yeah. That's the only thing.
It's the same personality trait. Well, I think that's even funnier. That makes the character way better for me.
No. When I watch those videos just to be, like, entertained, but I'm like, bro, this is cap.
Yeah, remember when he said there was going to be a food shortage in China's
Yeah, bro.
China's star?
Bro, he pulled up so many articles about, like, look.
He's like, yo, you got to Google Translate it. This is what they're talking about in China on Twitter.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, man.
I don't know how people don't, like, step outside of that bubble and realize everything's okay.
Well, it's actually everything's not okay, but it's not as bad as... Like, it's bad, but in a different way.
Yeah. Like, you're good, bro.
Nah, for now at least.
Yeah. Oh, man. I think we should just end it there.
Yeah.
That was a good last liner.
Nah, yeah, that was... I think we just cooked another, like, 30